still waters. They always said the river was cursed. Long before the dam, before the boats and the tourists, the locals warned newcomers, don't swim in Black Hollow River. Not because of the current. Not because of the snakes. But because of him. They called him Malfaiteur, a name spoken with both awe and dread. The wrongdoer. The beast of Black Hollow. A crocodile older than reason, born in the blood of massacres and legends, scarred with the sins of generations past. He wasn't just a predator, he was punishment. But to Marcus Levine, such tales were perfect for camera work. A man of ambition and desperation, Marcus had burned through nearly every investor and producer in New Orleans with his unhinged obsession for danger. His latest pitch was a streaming documentary titled Swamp Shadows, Hunting the Real Killer Croc. It's not just another croc special, he told his reluctant film crew. It's history. Myth meets modern terror. A monster born of blood and revenge. He brought them deep into the swamplands, for others who had no idea what they'd signed up for. Talia, the sound engineer with a fear of deep water. Ben, the cynical camera operator who never stopped recording. Alyssa, the field biologist skeptical of every word Marcus said. Daryl, a hulking grip tech who handled most of the heavy lifting, and the whiskey. They arrived at the old ranger outpost near Black Hollow River just before sunset. The air was thick, the kind that clung to your skin and filled your lungs like molasses. Cicadas screamed. Birds were silent. Ben panned his camera across the still, dark waters. "How deep is it?" he asked. "Deeper than you'd like," muttered a voice from behind them. An old man in tattered overalls stood by the dock, arms crossed. His name was Calvin Mears, one of the last born and bred locals who hadn't fled the area. His skin was like leather left out in the sun too long, and his eyes held the weight of memory. "You come here looking for Malfaiteur?" he asked. Marcus smirked. "We're here to document the truth." Calvin spat into the mud. "Truth's in the water. And it always takes what it's owed." Day one of filming started smoothly. They staged drone shots of the swamp and interviews with Calvin, whose cryptic tales dripped with folklore. He spoke of the first time he saw Malfaiteur, when he was a boy, watching from the trees as the creature tore through a family of poachers like a divine executioner. "He don't kill to eat," Calvin said. "He kills to remember." The crew laughed behind the lens, but not Talia. She had started hearing things, soft splashes at night, distant gurgles. When she asked Calvin if crocs hunted at night, he gave a grim nod. "That one does." Later that night, they set up motion-activated cameras and live bait along the riverbank. Marcus insisted they use raw meat, enough to draw out something big. Daryl rigged a rigged steel cage nearby, supposedly safe enough to shield anyone inside. "You want me in there?" Alyssa asked. Marcus smiled. "You're the expert." She didn't laugh. Still, no crocodile came. Just silence. Until the third night. That's when Daryl vanished. They found the cage torn open, steel bars bent outward. Blood soaked the mud around it. His half-empty flask sat beside a broken flashlight. No screams were heard. No struggle seen. Only the cameras caught a flicker, a massive black shape gliding through the water with impossible grace, eyes reflecting the moonlight. Ben watched the footage in silence. "That's no normal croc." Talia began crying quietly. "And Marcus?" He only said, "Perfect. We keep rolling." Alyssa wanted to leave. She and Ben fought Marcus about it. "This isn't a documentary anymore," she snapped. "It's a damn snuff film." Marcus leaned in. "People die in nature documentaries all the time." Daryl made his choice. Talia locked herself in the equipment van that night. She refused to touch the river again. But something touched her. She screamed around midnight. Ben was the first to reach her. The side door of the van was peeled open like a tin can. Inside, nothing but shredded wires and a pool of red. Another one gone. Marcus kept the cameras rolling. The mood had shifted. Ben stopped speaking altogether, filming through gritted teeth, flinching at every snap of branches. Alyssa packed her gear in silence. No one talked about Talia. No one even asked where the body had gone. The van had deep gouges in its side. The marks weren't consistent with claws, they were sharper, more serrated. Like ancient teeth honed by years of grinding bone. Alyssa took samples from the scratches. The DNA was inconclusive. Unknown reptilian origin was the best the lab could say, before the satellite signal failed altogether. That night, Calvin returned. He brought with him a dead alligator, nearly 12 feet long, dragged from a neighboring inlet. Its body had been crushed, its skull shattered, its limbs torn off and thrown yards apart. Wasn't no hunter, Calvin said. Something bigger. Smarter. Marcus filmed it all like a man possessed. This is it. This is real fear. You ain't afraid yet, Calvin whispered. But you will be. When he comes for you. Ben was next. It happened while he was reviewing footage near the riverbank, headphones on, eyes locked to the screen. Alyssa had warned him to stay away from the water. He didn't listen. The final recording from his camera showed ripples in the water, tiny at first, then growing. Then came the humming, a low, guttural vibration that rattled the audio feed. He turned. The screen caught a glimpse of golden eyes rising from beneath the surface, glowing like lanterns in the fog. Then came the scream. And the camera dropped into the mud, its lens splintering against a root. Ben was gone before they even got outside. Marcus wanted the footage retrieved. Alyssa refused. You're insane, she said. This thing isn't a crocodile. It's something else. Exactly, he said. And we're making history. Calvin had one final warning for Marcus. There's a reason he waits. He remembers. Blood calls blood. What do you mean? You brought the wrong kind of eyes here, Levine. You're not just filming. You're feeding him. Alyssa broke into Marcus's private laptop the next morning. What she found was a draft of a script, not a documentary, but a staged horror film. He'd brought them here to provoke something. He had even faked early sightings, laying out mangled meat and hiring a diver to wear croc gear the first few nights. Except, the diver had never reported back. Marcus said he bailed. But there were no tickets bought. No car rented. No calls made. Another victim, lost before filming even started. Alyssa confronted him, gun in hand. You lied to us. It worked, he said, laughing. We found it. The monster's real. And it wants me. You're delusional. Marcus's expression changed, softened, almost reverent. I've seen it, Alyssa. In dreams. Under the surface. There's something older in this swamp than God. And it's not here to eat. It's here to judge. He handed her a stack of old maps, faded newspaper clippings, and a journal belonging to a French missionary from 1811. The entries detailed a massacre, a village drowned in blood by slavers. One of the tribal leaders prayed not for salvation, but for vengeance. The next night, something crawled from the water, pulled the slavers into the dark, and disappeared. We called upon a demon clothed in the shape of a crocodile, the priest wrote. It took their bones and fed on their hate. It does not die. It waits. Alyssa fled that night, but the fog rolled in so thick she lost the path. Trees twisted into unfamiliar shapes. She heard something breathing behind her. Wet footsteps in the reeds. She climbed an old tree, clinging to the trunk until morning. Beneath her, the water churned gently all night, as though the river was breathing. When the mist cleared, she saw it for the first time. Malfaiteur. He didn't look like a crocodile anymore, at least not fully. His body was bloated with scars, his limbs too long, his back arched like a broken spine. Bone jutted from his shoulders. And those eyes, brilliant gold, filled with a terrible memory. He made no sound. He simply stared. And then he sank, without a ripple. Only Marcus remained. He returned to the river that night, alone, camera in hand, muttering like a priest. "I see you. I'm ready." Alyssa watched from the tree-lean. He offered a knife. His own blood. A tribute. And from the water, it rose. Malfaiteur towered over him, impossibly large, head crowned with barnacles, algae, and bone. The creature sniffed him, ancient jaws creaking open. Marcus smiled. "Take me. Make me part of the myth." But the beast did not accept the offering. Instead, it dragged him down. Not quickly. Not cleanly. It peeled the flesh from his bones inch by inch, and then laid his remains across the riverbank like a warning. Alyssa survived. She was found 3 days later by a search team, wandering near the levee, eyes hollow. She never spoke again, except once, during a psychiatric evaluation. She whispered a single sentence. "He forgives no one." They called her mad. But the river grew still again. The disappearances stopped. The forest quieted. And deep beneath the silt and bones of Black Hollow River, Malfaiteur dreamed. Because vengeance never truly sleeps. It waits. In silence. In stillness. In the dark water.